Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Guys, welcome back. Guys and gals, I'll say. Welcome back to the Purpose Chasers podcast. I think I might be more excited than I've been to have a guest on the podcast. I have Julie Reisler with me, and I'm just going to create her for you guys because she is an epic human being and a badass contributor to the world. And how we came about this conversation and conversation that we had earlier on her podcast, we literally were connected by, 15 people, no exaggeration, made email introductions, like countless people. And we both finally replied to the last introduction and got on a call. And it was one of those calls where you're like, oh, when I identified that I have a heart connection with somebody, and it's like I'm literally trying to get as much into the call as I can because I know it's going to end. And Julie, you're just an amazing human being. I could list off her credentials. She is an overachiever, as am I, and has a host of credentials. But let's get into this. Julie, I am so honored to have you here. Can you give a brief intro into who you are outside of the spiritual being that I know?
Thank you, Mark. That was an awesome intro. And I'll just add to that. I'm really honored to be here and see the same epicness in you. And look, I think for me, my what I call my sacred calling is really about helping other human beings to design and live out their best life. I went through a journey of feeling a very deep lack of self-connection, self-love, and the way that showed up was through food addiction. Gratefully, through my food addiction, got me on my knees and into the recovery space. And through that work, as you know, I started, this is about 15 years ago in 2003 in May 23rd, 2003, to be exact. I had thought about taking my life. I was miserable. I could not stop eating. I was in a marriage to a very good person, not a great fit. And I felt like I was sleepwalking and wearing a mask. And what I'm grateful for today is that through that journey of thousands of hours of personal development, of reflection, of going to meetings, having coaches, sponsors, personal development programs, I really got that the most important thing is our relationship with ourselves first. And for me, that journey of, you could call it self-connection, self-love, saved my life. And I am gratefully somebody who just, I have shifted how I do nourishment, food, love, connection. And, I started my own business a little over 5 years ago, and I'm here to coach, guide, teach, work, help humanity to really get this feeling of empowerment and connection to our sacred individuality. I believe when you are in alignment with who you came here to be, then there is an energy that flows through. There's an ability to make an impact and serve that is paramount. And my intention, whether it's through the books I've written or speaking or whatever is going on, I call myself now a purpose doula. I feel like I'm here to help people rebirth, uncover, unleash their purpose, their sacred calling, their spiritual intuitive connection. And that has come from a deep place of not having that to really transforming myself and seeing how my life is 180%, it's just done a 180. It's completely total it's totally different than it used to be. And, you know, I'm remarried. I have 2 amazing kids. I had a total health breakdown. I shifted my way of doing eating and food and recovery there. And just, it's imperfect and it's fantastic. And I really believe we're all meant to have prosperous, joyful, passionate, love-filled lives. And that's my aim, is to help people really find that love and purpose again and live it and feel it and breathe it and then share it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm like at a loss for words. Like, it's amazing. And the definition of literally why I started, you know, the Purpose Chasers podcast and why I do everything that I do in my life is like, we're absolutely aligned. And for those of you listening who might have just gotten a little lost in what Julie said, there's a calling that everyone has, right? And so every single human that I've come into contact with, you know, and especially in doing my guided visualization meditations, and you ask them to go back to, like, let's say that 2nd grade classroom. So if you were to place yourself, and this, I'm going to give you guys an exercise, and don't close your eyes if you're driving, but if you were to close your eyes and place yourself as you currently are in your life back in your 2nd grade classroom, and the teacher's going around the room asking what you want to be when you grow up, you know what it is. Right? And literally why this might be the most profound intro and gateway into an episode of Purpose Chasers that I've had, because this is why I started the show. Everyone has a calling here on earth, and mine just happened to be an author, a speaker, a transformational coach, and a thought leader to transform the way that our society views trauma and how individuals view their past trauma and use it as a strength, right? So, man, what a start. I'm just like, there's a million ways that I want to go. And one thing that I want to state that came up for me when you said that is, it's a song that I've been listening to. It's a metal song. And one of the lines in it is, the greatest things in my life aren't even things at all. And I remember like it was last Friday, I was at the gym with my buddy, and I was doing some squats and I was doing a heavy set, and this song was on, and I finished the set and literally started crying as this line dropped on the song. You've had those moments, or is it just me?
Oh yeah. I mean, they come, oh yeah. I mean, yoga, squatting, listening to Aerosmith this morning. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think, well, and you know, if I can add, for me, there was a long period of time where I could not access my emotions. I could not cry. I mean, literally, my best friend, who's still my best friend since I was 5 years old, grew up in the Boston area. She's still there. Go Patriots. Sorry, how to say it. You know,
huge Pats fan. So
go Pats. Yeah.
I'm from New Hampshire. So
that's right. We're New England, right? She would say to me, like, you don't cry. And I remember one of the first things when I started to put the food down, sugar down, is I had these, you know, huge amounts of emotion. And that was part of what I was eating over, dealing with, you know, is not feeling that. And so for me today to cry, and to cry easily, and I hear you say that, it's a sign of health, of humanity, of being connected. And we're meant to have emotions. We're meant to express them. And so I get kind of excited today when I cry or tear up, because for so long I really didn't. I mean, really, like I barely cried. And so I love when I feel really that moved by something. And sometimes it's sad. Sometimes it's, you know, feeling just a deep, profound sense of connection to something greater. But yeah, totally. There's certain songs, certain movements. Are you kidding? My husband knows now. He's like, okay.
Here we go. We're about
Here we go. Julie needs a minute. She's crying.
So let me ask you this. How grateful are you for your food addiction?
Yeah, I am grateful beyond measure for my food addiction, and I'm grateful for my autoimmune condition. I have Hashimoto's. It's a thyroid condition, and I do believe, our mind and body is deeply connected. And I think years of abusing sugar and years of abusing my own sense of purpose and not listening to my voice led to a breakdown in my thyroid. And thyroid is located right by your vocal cords. And I intuitively knew when I was diagnosed, right away, what came to me was, wow, that is connected to not listening to my voice. And so for me, today, especially working with a lot of people around food addiction, recovery, self-love, nourishment, it's one of the biggest gifts. I never in a million years would have said that or thought I would have said that, when I started in that journey. I hated it. It was a curse. I mean, it almost drove me to drive myself off the road. I was really, really miserable in myself. I was trapped in myself. And today it's one of the biggest gifts, and I'm grateful for it, which in itself is a gift.
Because when I hear you say that, so we've had deeper conversation around this topic, you and I have, but when I hear you say and you brushed over it just like I do, right? So when I was on your podcast this morning, I talked about all my childhood trauma with no emotion, just like, oh yeah, that's that. And I'm so grateful for it just because of the foundation of spirituality and connection that it provided me. And I believe that, and for those of you listening, I've said this before when I've had guests that have shared similar stories as Julie's, I'm just thinking of, Brian in particular. It's in the brokenness that I'm found, right? And because I don't seek transformation at the level that I do if I have another option. The world doesn't, right? Because you think about it, for years, you reached out for sugar. I reached out for drugs and alcohol. Other people reach out to Netflix, or they reach out to weightlifting, or they reach out to Louis Vuitton purses, or whatever the heck your thing is that you grab. Yeah. We all suffer.
Absolutely. I think that I chose. I mean, I remember this. I truly remember when I found out about the first meeting that I was going to go to. And I was actually grew up in a family of addiction, mainly food addiction. I have a sister who's openly in recovery from alcohol and food addiction, and my mom recovering compulsive eater, and my dad is not identified, but definitely food addiction. And food was love in my family. It really, really was. It's a whole other story. But I will say that when I got to the point of desperation, I mean, like, literally, I wanted to drive into a tree or off the road. I remember I found out about a meeting, and I thought, oh God, there's crazy people that go to these 12-step meetings. I don't want to go. They're all weirdos. Because anyhow, I'll spare the details, but I didn't want to go. I was really obstinate. But I remember this inner voice said, Julie, this is it. Like, you go to this, your whole life is going to change for the better. I just remember hearing that. And you know what, Mark, I think what happened was it allowed me to wake up. It allowed me to wake up, and it allowed me to wake up and excavate my real self, my best me. And it was not overnight. And as you had said earlier, when I talked to you, it's a daily practice and reprieve. I mean, it's a daily, I work on my connection to my higher self every single day. And that's what I help people to do. And when you decide and choose to really be awake and and decide how your life's going to be, I mean, man, it is like night and day. My life today is so different. I even look different. I mean, it's interesting. There's so many things. People who knew me then, sometimes, like, they're like, wow, what did you do? You look more alive. You look more energetic. I said, well, I'm just living in a way that's awake and alive and taking care of myself energetically and in all ways, mind, body, spirit, imperfectly and, intentionally.
Why do you do it?
So it's funny because I'm remembering, so those listening, we had a conversation. It's funny. You had said something and I was like, oh my God, that's the same thing I feel. And so I'll just say, when I was in the throes, and I mean, sugar and food is an interesting addiction. And there's many who may feel that they struggle with overeating. And I get it. There's kind of a spectrum, but there's some of us out there that what happened for me, it became such a ingrown pattern that I literally, any feeling that I had, happy, sad, angry, anything, jealous, I would go to food. And so it became this comfort, this blanket. And, the thing with food is you can't not eat. I've always said, you have to, as they say in recovery, it's like taking the tiger out of its cage 3 times a day. I mean, you cannot not eat. So I remember just praying, asking whoever, God, creator, please, if you help me to find reprieve and recovery, like I promise I will go back and help as many people humanly possible in their life in as any way you want. Like I just remember making this promise, and this, it almost felt like a contract. You know, I said, look, if just whatever I need to do, I'm willing to do it. I literally will do anything I need to do that's healthy and for my best. And I just, for me, helping other people to wake up, to uncover the reason they chose to come to this planet to live out their highest calling or purpose, you know, to move through a bad relationship with themselves, or a marriage, or relationship with a spouse, or career, or food. For me, it's like, I can't not do it. That was the contract that I made with my creator, higher power, God, whatever you call it. And I just feel this deep calling. I felt it when I was little. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know how to talk about it, but helping people to uncover that, who they really are, their sacred divinity, their, you know, living out your purpose, your calling, whoever you came here to be. That to me is, it's impossible for me not to do it. And now knowing and understanding and living out the difference of living, you know, sleepwalking with a mask versus awake, it's not okay for me to see people who are in pain or suffering or living a life that's mediocre to continue that way when I know what's possible. And so it's part of my purpose, really.
I mean, wow. I guess so. One thing that one of my first teachers, when I started doing, you know, embarking on this work, engaging in this work, whatever you want to call it, said to me is, he said, Mark, I want you to, if you take one thing from me, take this. He goes, individuals that are in the helping space, when you ask them why they do it, if they say that they just want to help people, know that they truly need help. And when I ask you why you do it, and you just literally gave a 2-minute rant about why you do it, makes it really clear to me that, like, this is your calling. And I've had this conversation with a few people, and it often brings frustration to me, individuals that get in this space that we're in, right? So coaching, speaking, mentoring, group coaching, whatever you want to call it. And it's very clear that they're out for a quick buck. Right. Yeah. And there's, you know, they're all over the place, and they're doing their thing, and there's always going to be a market for them. And there's always, but what I want to ask you this question. So I find that the clients that are attracted to me are ready to go. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way that I speak. Maybe it's how clear and concise I am. Maybe it's how passionate I am. Yeah. But like, the vetting process for clients with me is not like, they're usually ready to go. And the only barrier of conversation is financial. Yeah. Right. Like, that's the only conversation that we're having. And I have a massive heart. And so I find myself going down, like, I just want to serve. And that's bitten me in the butt as well. Mm-hmm. What's your experience with that? Like, how ready, when clients get to you, are they ready to go? Are you like having to say, I don't think this is going to work because, like,
right. It's a great question. It's really, really, it's interesting to me, because one of the things that I've identified is, so I've had two types of clients. I've had those that have come to me through contracts. I do a lot of work with companies and teams, and often the government. And what I've noticed is, when they come to me, let's say a government contract, while I'm grateful for it, oftentimes those are people that are being told, you need to do coaching, or I had one person out of about 40 that was just, you know, a magical fit. What I've noticed, though, people that are naturally coming to me or drawn to me or wanting to do coaching, whole different story. And similar to you, you know, I believe as beings, we are, you know, there's a quality of people can feel how you're being, and it's obvious with you. Hopefully it's obvious with me. Like, this is absolutely, you know, in part what I'm here to do. And so people that are my clients are ready, and usually at that point where they're willing to go internal, all full out, and want to do so in a way that's really going to make a difference. I've actually found that, if I can tell right away, if somebody is not in that place, typically they're not going to come to me, because I think they're either scared off or they sense that, that's not going to be a good fit. I had one person that I actually recently said, you know what, I actually don't think this is a good space for you to work with me yet. Like we go deep, and, I also use an intuitive process, and it's all about internal. There's no victimhood in coaching at all. I mean, I take it on probably similar to you. I am 100% at cause for my life, 100%. And I take that on with love and respect and grace. And when I'm working with somebody, we take on that same idea. And so you've got to really be willing to look at yourself to pick up the rock. And if you're not there, that is fine. I'm probably not a good fit for you.
Absolutely. And the side of it is you're paying me to go all in on your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I can tell with you, we're very similar. Like I don't take that lightly. If I'm on a call with you, like if we're on a Zoom and we're doing like I'm all in, and I'm gonna I'm going all in. I don't know how else to say it. And so I always do, in my intros, I always go, I go in a little bit, I dig a little bit, and I poke, and I can usually tell if an individual's coachable.
Yeah.
And so, but there's a piece that you said that I want to go into. You have an intuition process.
Oh, I have an
intuition process. So let's talk about this.
Good job. Oh, wow. I was just thinking, this would be a little vulnerable for me, but it would be a good topic to talk about. Literally, I was thinking, and you just asked it. So same wavelength. Yeah. So, it's interesting. I'm going to share this. I don't know that I've shared this on an interview or really verbally in this way, but
you guys have heard it first.
Yeah, really. You heard it first here. Look, I was trained, I have a master's degree in coaching. I have 3 certifications in coaching. I did coaching with Landmark. I mean, I've over 10 years of a lot of coaching experience. And the thing I love about coaching versus consulting or even therapy is that, you are the expert of your life, whoever I'm working with. And it's about you having that wisdom and expertise within, which I believe in and I love. And of course, there's a space to use intuition. However, one of the things that has really come to me recently, and I've had a knowing about this, but I think as I've done a lot more personal stillness and meditation and work on my own intuition, there's been a lot more intuitive unfolding. Just, I have a thing when I start talking to somebody, I can start to get a vision or a sense of their higher purpose and their future self. I can see it. I can feel it. I often get images. And this has happened for a long time, but I kind of just used it on the side. And it's been a big deal because it's something I have realized is actually, like, for me, it's always the question of, is this in service of my client and their highest good? If it is, like, I'll share a story or I'll share something, but I typically don't share a lot because it's not about me. But if it's in service of them, then I will. And one of the big shifts that I've realized in the last 6 months, 8 months has been realizing that as I'm declaring, this intuition muscle is developing and opening, it's actually in service of my clients to use that more. And so, it's rather than making it kind of 20 or 30% of my sessions, I found recently, and of course, by no surprise, I've been attracting clients, and I tell them, hey, I have a pretty strong intuition. Are you comfortable? Would you like me to include that while we have sessions? And Mark, it's been, all I can say is it's a gift that I don't take lightly. I mean, it makes me want to cry because I do feel like there is a greater intelligence. We're all connected to it. This is not just me, but I've really been honing it. And to be in connection and to be able to be a channel for that, to be in service of people I'm working with, to get a sense of their higher self, their purpose, their vision, has been so frigging incredible. And allowing myself to use those words out loud, I was really nervous about it because here's the irony. I did get certifications. I have like 13 certifications. I have masters. I have all this crap. It's not crap.
And I thought I had a lot of credentials.
Yeah.
And I went on your website and I was like, oh, she one-upped me.
No, it's crazy. It's overachieving. No, it's out of like interest in what I love to do. It wasn't, I didn't mean to rack and stack them, but well, here's the thing, this intuitive gift, there is no certification for this. This has been, a natural unfolding. And what I got was, I was talking to a friend and she said, why are you so surprised? I'm like, oh my God, I just identified it. I didn't get certified. Like I just have it. And I thought, my God, I'm so grateful for this gift. And so I'm starting to really own that and use language and to share that because, I did a session last week. It was the first time I've done this where it was, fully using that gift in a way that I've not done, where I'm really listening and getting pictures and sharing it. And it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. And I just, for me, I do everything by asking my guidance, higher self, infinite intelligence, whatever you call it. I ask for information. This might sound a little crazy, but it's how it works for me. I ask, how am I to serve? And I listen, and this has been coming up. So that's how I do it.
Yeah. You're speaking my language. So I'm in the midst of a new business venture, training coaches and educating them on how I've done what I've done. Right. And I want to learn how to kind of give it away without this certification, which means really, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Right. And so I've had a few people, I'm thinking of 3 in particular, that have come in the last 2 weeks that have asked me to coach them on how I coach. And I'm lost because I have a master's degree similar to you. I hold 2 licenses to practice therapy. I worked with runaway and homeless youth for 6 years and then practiced therapy for 9 years and ran groups and like the whole 9. But you take all of that away, I have this guiding force in me when I'm on sessions with people that is literally directing the questions that I'm asking.
Yeah.
And I call it intuition. I call it my heart. Right. And so I will ask questions that will smack clients and they will be like, where did that come from? And I was like, it came from my heart. And I just wanted to put it out there. And it leads to like, I don't need to explain it. It leads to epic transformation. You can't teach that. Yeah. That literally comes from the practice and the realm of transformation, that the level in which we've engaged in. Like you can't teach that. You have to invest time, tears, and throwing stuff and like everything that we've done to get there. Is that your experience?
Yeah, no, I love it. And it's funny. I was just thinking, like, I actually teach coaching at Georgetown. I teach coaching, and this is the one piece, because, it's about asking powerful questions, deep listening, but the intuition, to me, or you could use the word listening to your heart, or a way of being. That piece is the piece that I always say. And honestly, when you ask that question, that's, to me, the most important thing you can do. The most important thing is to cultivate your intuition. And for me, that has been the journey, the going inward relationship with me and my higher self. And that looks like meditation, and that looks like, intuitive writing and journaling. And that looks like, crying and surrendering. And that looks like, sometimes for me, it's standing and dancing or aligning my chakras. And there's a lot of ways to do this, but getting still, shutting down the noise. There's a lot of noise in our society, in our world, and going in. It is not always the sexy journey. Like, I think, it takes commitment, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. And that those times when I really, really didn't want to, but did spend time going within and sat with those feelings and just started to listen. I believe we all have intuition, all of us, every human being has the possibility of it. Not, maybe in different amounts, or it shows up in different ways. It has been a guiding light for me, for my business, for my coach, for everything. I do everything based on that first. You can call it your gut, your heart, your inner knowing, your third eye. I don't care what you call it. We all have a different experience of it. But yeah, I think that is the most important thing to cultivate, especially if you want to get into coaching. Because you get out of the other pieces, when you're in your intuition, you get out of performer mode. And for me, it's not freaking about me. It's never, I mean, when it's about me, that's when I get into trouble. And that has helped me in anything and everything I do, is that it's about being of service and truly help, you know, aiding somebody to really to uncover whatever's in the way or to create. And that comes through when I'm quiet and I shut the F up and I allow myself to be a channel.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening who are like, I don't really understand what she's talking about, there is, based off of my experience, there is no way to tap into what we are talking about until you clear away the debris that's blocking you off from your heart, from spirit, from God, whatever you want to do. Every major religion in the world teaches how to uncover your true self, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or whatever you want to study. Like, they all teach the same principles, but you can't, like, there's a reason why, and I didn't understand it at the time, that, you know, 3 of the classes that I took in grad school, like, focused on self-care, but yet most all of the individuals that were in my graduate class were super unhealthy.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense to me, but it didn't make any sense because I was engulfed in this realm of transformation and growing and evolving as a human being to tap deeper into that consciousness and deeper, you know, and it's just, I mean, it's a whole tangent that we can go on.
Yeah. Can I add? Oh, go ahead.
You can add whatever you want, girl.
Well, one quick thing, I'm realizing the irony of, for those who've ever struggled with overeating or addiction of any kind, you know, one of the gifts was when I was eating, you know, when you're eating crap, what do you get? You get crap. Like, so what you put in your body, I mean, for me, the basic fundamentals, I mean, I talk about meditating, those are great things. But another component is, how are you, like you said, how are you caring for your body, for the, you know, the space that holds your soul, you could say. And so as I started to change that up, move more, you know, really nourish, hydrate, like the basic things we know, but seriously shifted the way that I started to feel and has shifted my connection to my gut, to my intuition. And these are things that, you know, I just, whatever the addiction is, usually the gift is, you know, in letting go of the addiction and understanding there's a deeper part of you that wants to be heard and felt. So that's another gift, tying that back to the question you asked.
That's why I named my first business, the business that I operate under, Threefold Wellness. Mind, body, spirit. You can't, you can progress in one, but you'll lack in another. But when you nurture all 3, some amazing things will happen. So I'm just like, just grateful to know you and super grateful for this conversation. I had no idea where it was going. I want to give you a chance now, since you've been like so respectful and you haven't done it, although I would have let you pretty much say anything that you wanted on this podcast. Can you talk about, because you've written a few books, a couple books, you have a podcast, which is the greatest tagline that I've ever heard. Can you share with my listeners where they can find you and give us a little insight into what your offerings are in all of these services that you provide?
Yeah. And thank you for asking. Yeah. I'm sort of big into, if this feels like it adds value to you, then come find me and I'd love to connect. And there are a lot of ways to connect. I wrote, my first book is Get a PhD in You. And then I wrote the second, Get a PhD in You business edition. So the first is more, men have read it, many men, it's geared more towards women. There's a really beautiful pink cover on it, and it's about just self-discovery. I took all of what I've learned and created a book. It's kind of a workbook style. I wanted a space for people to really, we study everything often but ourselves. And I think the most important thing to study and to work through and love and connect with is yourself first. And then you can give way more. It's not stopping there. So Get a PhD in You, Get a PhD in You business edition, which is more about your career. Those are both on Amazon. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram at Julie Reisler, and my website is juliereisler.com. And I have, a couple of TEDx talks that I've done on really this notion of self-discovery, self-love, Get a PhD in You. And I'm also on Insight Timer, which is a really awesome meditation app. About 12 meditations are free. I have a course on there called Hungry for More. It's a 10-day audio course. It's only $5. And I just had the privilege of working with, I think, a couple thousand students in there, really helping you to get what you're hungry for, which is not food. And I go through the 6 H's of hunger, and would just love if this resonates with anybody, please connect with me. It's really easy. My website, social media, my podcast is the You-est You, and I have Mark on there, which is going to be fun. And, I'm just really here to serve and to really, for me, it's about, frankly, in all honesty, there is a level of just wanting to change the way we operate as human beings and changing how it goes with humanity. I really feel like collaboration and connection and creating together and oneness is my religion. That's what I'm here to do and to be. And so, it's a pretty big purpose, but I'm out to kind of raise the level of self-connection, self-love, and helping people to just freaking love their life. We get one shot at it, and we don't know how long we're here for in this lifetime, at least my belief. So what the heck else am I doing if I'm not adding in an uplifting way? I mean, I kind of just don't understand what else I'm going to do if I'm not making a difference. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I read a quote to you before we started this podcast, which was the intention for my year. And it's all about serving at a very, very high level.
Yeah.
And and I've shared this before on the podcast, there's literally only one thing in this life that I'm scared of. And that is being on my deathbed with regret.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally the only thing that scares me. And my challenge for the listeners this week is to get really connected to this one shot you have at life. And if you believe in reincarnation, please roll with me on this challenge. You can believe in that. I believe that, if I did actually believe in that my karmic animal would probably be a mosquito. I'd probably come back as a mosquito and die in a day because I've swatted so many of them.
Love it.
But I would really challenge you to just get quiet and close your eyes and visualize if you knew that this was the last shot you had to go at what it is that you believe you were put on this earth to do. What's preventing you from just taking one action? Like Julie and I didn't build what we have overnight. Like we started with one action and it snowballed, and then we just started to take more action. And you look at like even me being introduced to Julie and going on her podcast and having her on mine, like that came from a series of actions that I've taken and the way that I'm showing up in the world. So that's my challenge to you guys, is just and gals. I don't know why I say guys and then gals after. I'm going to start saying gals and then guys. Gals and guys. That's my challenge for you this week. And Julie, I want to ask you this question, which I ask. I'm hoping that you haven't listened to the podcast, so this is going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I love being put on the spot. Bring it on.
Good. So that means she hasn't listened, which is good. So if you could leave one thing with the world, what would it be?
If I could leave one thing with the world, it would be, goodness, I mean, it's a big one. I would, if I could wave a magic wand and every single human being could understand how freaking magical, maybe that's not the best word, but how divinely connected they are, that they are infinite, and that there's a real reason they're here, and to live that and to then uplift humanity and consciousness. And I mean, change it to what we would call the frequency of love. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. That's it.
That's awesome. Julie, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so grateful to have you in my sphere, if you will, and to know you and to grow with you. And listeners, I hope that you really appreciated this interview as much as I do. I have never been able to talk with another guest about their intuition and how that guides them in their life and in their coaching practice. So I have a lot of respect for you, Julie, and I'm just grateful that you're here. And honestly, look forward to having you back on Purpose Chasers in the future.
Well, thank you, Mark. And I think what you're doing and how you're adding light and just complete badassery to the world and being your best self and helping others to chase their purpose is quite incredible and inspiring and needed right now. And I'm honored to be here. And I hope that even if it's one takeaway from someone, hopefully not too woo-woo for people, but hopefully you got something that really stuck with your listeners. And I'm honored to be part of this. So thank you.
If they listened, they got a bunch. So thank you so much,
Awesome.
Julie. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit scaletosaleconsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.